The San Francisco 49ers captains have been revealed, and it's the typical cast that we would have expected with one new one added to the mix, but we'll hold on to him for a second. Let's go through the list of the 2025 San Francisco 49ers captains. Without any surprise, Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Trent Williams, and rounding out the eighth list, who Kyle Shanahan said was basically replacing Debo, is Deommodore Lenoir. There you go. Congratulations to Deommodore for being voted a team captain for the San Francisco 49ers in 2025. I think it's very fitting. And honestly, just awesome for him. Again, a fifth-round draft pick, a guy who started early, was benched, kind of got demoted and relegated to the end of the roster. I remember one point covering training camp, and I was like, I did a segment of surprise cuts, and I said Deommodore Lenoir might be a surprise cut, not because I don't think he's any good, but he's clearly buried on the depth chart. So this is a guy who showed early promise, kind of got doghoused, and then worked his way out of that to now earn a contract, be a starter, and be a team captain. So shout out to Deommodore Lenoir for getting his first time team captain. Honestly, a great honor for him. And, it's cool for guys like Kyle Juszczyk. Remember, Kyle Juszczyk got released this offseason and re-signed with the team. And again, just kind of shows you what the locker room thinks of Kyle Juszczyk as a leader. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey being a captain makes a ton of sense. George Kittle, Fred Warner, to me, are the most vocal captains on the team. You're, of course, going to have your quarterback, Brock Purdy, as a captain as well. And the silverback, Trent Williams, has to be a captain. And, of course, Nick Bosa, who spoke about this year taking on a more vocal role with the San Francisco 49ers in regards to the locker room, in regards to leading his room. And again, it's Nick Bosa, one of the best defensive players in the NFL. So when you look at the list, I really, really do like it. I think it's a solid one. I think that these players, again, they're all like, for the most part, top of their position groups. Trent Williams, to me, will always be the GOAT at tackle. George Kittle, tight end 1. I will take no further questions on the matter. Fred Warner, LB1. Nick Bosa, definitely in the top 5 conversation. Kyle Juszczyk, the best fullback in the game. Christian McCaffrey, still in the conversation to be the best running back in the game. I know a lot of people have soured on CMC due to the injury, and I swear to God, the most common thing I've heard about CMC is, I had him in fantasy. Oh, I had him in fantasy. I took him number 1 overall in fantasy. So a lot of fans hold that against CMC, which I understand. They're bummed about that. But CMC still the GOAT running back. We'll see what Bijan does. We'll see what Jahmyr Gibbs does. But I think CMC is going to come back and have a phenomenal season. Brock Purdy, obviously, we could do a whole video on where Brock Purdy ranks amongst the rest of the league in quarterbacks. But to me, he's a top 10 quarterback. I'm not going to put him in the top 5 just yet. I think he is worthy of being in that conversation, especially if he comes out and has a stellar 2025 season. So, and then Deommodore Lenoir, he's creeping up. He's creeping up to be in that top 10 conversation. I believe he deserves to be in the top 10 conversation, but we'll see. So again, when you look at the 49ers roster that are led by these captains, you look at a lot of guys who are new, rookies, younger players, guys who maybe haven't been on the team in years past, and you're just kind of wondering what that might look like. But overall, man, this 49ers roster is stacked. It's extremely talented. It's very top heavy with, again, just kind of looking at this cast and crew of football degenerates, and I say that in the most positive way possible. When I say football degenerate, that means you're just a football nerd, core and core. You eat, sleep, breathe football. That's what I mean by that. So it is not a negative. To me, it's a quite endearing term. But anyways, I do think that this team has potential. And again, I got into a conversation on live about this last night with the fan who's just, very upset, very negative. Almost every comment. He was very active in the chat. Shout out to Donald. But he's very negatively charged. And I can understand that. I can understand not being pleased with certain aspects or elements of the team. I get it. I understand it. But I think what we have to remember is this team has a lot of talent. And as long as they're healthy, the big thing, asterisk, as long as they're healthy, this team absolutely has a shot to be a great team, because we don't know yet. We don't know who is going to step up and become the next Diamador Lenore. We don't know who is going to step up and be the next George Kittle. There might be someone on this roster right now that maybe we aren't really just fully aware of. Marquise Siegel, maybe he's the next big thing at safety. Maybe D. Winters is going to come into his own and become one of the best linebackers in the league. What if Michael Williams becomes one of the best defensive ends in the league? We just don't know. So there's a lot of, I understand where a lot of people are at of like, oh, maybe not loving this roster, but you have to remember, every year is a new opportunity, and every year there's a new opportunity for someone to rise and for someone to really showcase their abilities and surprise. So I think you have to keep that open, and you have to keep that as a possibility and a potential, because the 49ers have hit on gems. Look at Dominic Pooney, what Dominic Pooney turned into as a rookie, third rounder. So I'm excited about this team. I think there's I understand the cautious optimism. I understand maybe not just fully buying into being like, yeah, we're going back to the bowl. I get it. I get it. But I do believe that this team is worthy of putting up something that could represent a meaningful season. So, really curious to know what you guys think about the um, this situation. Curious to know what you guys think